Bruce Wilkins here at your Learning Center, joined by our club fitter, Stan Roach. Stan, thanks so much.
You bet, you bet.
So I thought we'd talk a little bit about the driver fitting process today.
Okay,
And
fantastic.
then what might bring somebody in here, what we can actually gain by going through a driver fitting. Because in my world, when we're hitting the driver better and farther, we actually have more opportunity to score.
Most definitely.
So if a player were to come in here and go through the driver fitting process, what are we all about?
Well, ideally, we're trying to get the best spin and the best launch angle off the hit. Is ideal. Anytime you do that, that's when you gain your extra distance. Definitely your carry.
Gotcha.
We're trying to get a launch angle somewhere between that 11 and 15 degrees.
Yep.
And a spin rate, normally somewhere, let's say 2,500 to 3,000. If we're under 3, we're in good shape.
When do we see the spin rate diminish for a player?
Anytime you mishit the club.
Okay.
Like
right.
I said, if you miss it a 1/16 of an inch, it's going to spin more. So I mean, the key, and I always say the easiest and the hardest way to keep the spin good is hit the center of the face.
There you go.
Yeah.
Does spin reduce when we have, let's say, an older driver that we may have been playing for 10 or more years?
Not necessarily. So much of it, drivers can diminish over time.
Okay.
You know, you hit them right, if you're hitting the center of the face, it's going to diminish pretty quick. And so that's where the players really need that newer technology.
And over the past, let's say, 5-10 years, how much has the technology of these drivers changed?
Huge. Tremendous. I mean, they've designated heads such as a low spin head, LS, which helps you reduce some spin. Now you have to be careful with that. You have to have enough loft that it's not going to take your flight down low and you don't carry as far.
Gotcha.
So there are some objects to that, but yeah.
And then we're talking about speed, right? Speed of the club head.
Right.
And then for each player, I'm assuming that there's a better shaft for all of us as the individual.
Most definitely. So much of that is based off your club head speed. But that's kind of where I start. I'm looking to see what kind of club head speed you're generating.
Okay.
And from that, obviously, centered hits. But the weight is also a factor.
Gotcha.
So the lighter shafts now, I know that some of them have 30-gram shafts in them now, so which is super light compared to years ago, average was 60. Now the higher speeds get the heavier shafts. And years ago, I would go either stiffer or heavier or both to reduce spin.
Gotcha.
Now a lot of the technology, the heads does it themselves, so it works out really good.
So if we are that player that maybe has lost some speed over time,
Right.
then there are different types of makeups with the shaft and the tool where we might actually be able to recapture some of that speed.
Exactly. Lighter weight, faster speed. Yeah, most definitely.
And then the design and the makeup, that's a preference, correct?
It is. You still have to like the way it looks and feels.
Right.
Most definitely.
Well, again, if you haven't already done so, we highly encourage you to come visit us here at the Learning Center. We're all about supporting you, our membership. And if Stan can get you into a better driver, right, you're going to be hitting it longer and farther and therefore having a lot more fun out there on the golf course.